4th Elets Pharma Leadership Summit. We are now heading into a discussion on AI-enabled automation strengthening pharma supply chain and packaging. So while the unprecedented global pandemic laid bare the gaps in the supply chain across sectors, the pharma industry was no different. The session will look to understand the role of automation and the initiatives being taken using automation for strengthening the supply chain for COVID-19 vaccine delivery. Joining us today for this session, we have Dr. Praful Bhararia, Professor, Department of Pharmaceutics, Raman Bhai Patel Postgraduate Center, LM College of Pharmacy. Welcome, Dr. Bhararia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Mr. Sanjay Kulkarni, Head of Commercial SCM India, EM Asia and Access Markets, Viatris. Thank you, Mr. Kulkarni, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We have Mr. Alok Kumar, Associate Director Finance, Supply Chain Cipla Limited. Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar, for joining us. Mr. Kumar will be moderating the session. And we are also likely to be joined by Mr. Nitish Kumar, Digital Partner Strides, who will be joining us shortly. I think he's facing a little bit of connectivity issue. So over to you, Mr. Kumar, to steer the session forward. Mr. Kumar, you can begin the discussion, please.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Cipla supply chain function as finance partner, and today here we are, gathered to discuss about the AI-enabled automations strengthening pharma supply chain and packaging, and we will keep this whole discussions into twofold. Basically, how automation has helped so far in terms of delivering COVID-19 vaccines, and what is the future roadmap for supply chains where everything are becoming increasingly digital and automated. All right, so I'll just give a quick introduction of our panel also, and then we will begin with the discussions. So today we are here, Dr. Praful Bhararia, Professor of LMN College. We have Sanjay Kulkarni, SCM Head India, EM, Asia and Access Market, Viatris. We have Nitish Kumar, Digital Business Partner, Stride. We are about to join Hiren Dani, but he could not able to join. He was the part of
Dr. Praful, looks like we have lost
pharmaceutical.
Mr. Alok and Nitish also.
Nitish,
you are able to hear me, Dr. Praful?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes. Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you fully audible.
All right. Thank you. So let us start the discussion. So we had this last 2 years in terms of the COVID, where everybody was forced down to work from home, and in that pandemic period, I think supply chains has emerged and it tried to deliver the COVID-19 vaccine. Maybe from Nitish, in terms of what sort of automations industry has leveraged in order to deliver this COVID-19 vaccines.
Yeah, this is a very important question in the current era, because we are the pharmaceutical company and we are into the basically vaccines manufacturing business as well. So as you rightly pointed out, the automation and digitizations of the supply chain, specifically with the technologies like RP and AI, is the need of our where we are heading is a very uncertain time. We are using word like VUCA. We are living in the VUCA world: vulnerability, uncertainty, complexity. So basically, how the companies are dealing with this entire thing right now is the answer lies somewhere in the technology and digitizations. For example, today we don't know what is the demand of our products because it depends.
Mind or it's across?
Am I audible?
Mr. Alok, by the time he joins, can I just quickly start on that point? This is Sanjay.
Hello, am I audible?
Alok, I think we can hear you, but I'm not sure you are able to hear us.
You can continue, Nitish Kumar, please.
Yeah. So I was saying that the digitizations and automation is the need of our. For example, I'll give a very simple example. This is not only related with the vaccines, but for any other pharma product. The demand in the market, you see, the most of the Indian companies, the demand comes from either US or UK market or European market in general. How the demand of the products is going to be shaped in the future is very, very uncertain at this point of time. There are 4 or 5 basic reasons for that. One is there is a huge pricing war which is happening in the US business right now among the generics Indian companies. What does it mean is, let's say we are selling a product of £1 or $1 today. Because of pricing war, it may go down to 50 cents tomorrow. It does, nobody knows where the pricing war is going to end. That's one factor. Second factor is the raw material cost. The APIs which we use for the manufacturing plant is mostly coming from countries like China and Taiwan and these kind of countries. So
Can anybody hear
because
me?
of the supply chain disruption, the API cost is very, very uncertain, and the supplier's reliability is also very big questions right now. Then another factors like how accurately we are predicting our demand for the future, how our manufacturing is happening. All these factors, when combined together, gives a very uncertain scenario for the demand planning as well as supply network planning. So only thing is how what could be the savior here is the technologies. For example, the power of AI, we can unlock that power too, where the AI can itself go and basically sense the each signal, demand signal or the supply signal. All of these elements are basically can be categorized as a signal. For example, the sensitivity of the pricing, the sensitivity of the supply chain disruption, the sensitivity of the raw material. All these things can be predicted with a very good accuracy using the help of AI platforms which are there in the market as well. And it is going to equip company to better plan their demand planning. It will help the companies to plan their supply network planning. It will help the companies for their manufacturing planning, the logistics planning. So the technology is eventually going to help the companies in all aspects of supply chain and other aspects of the business.
Alok ji, can you carry it forward? Okay, I think Sanjay Kulkarni ji, you can share your views. I think because Alok ji is not audible.
By the
I think there
time,
is a network connective issues. A lot of
yes,
people
I think
are actually coming and
yes,
going.
Dr. Praful, maybe you can initiate your talk.
Okay, well,
Yeah, pretty much. I have spoken on the topic, so yeah.
yeah. Okay, introduce myself. I am Dr. Praful Bharadia, currently working as a professor in pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical technology at LM College of Pharmacy. Incidentally, this happens to be the oldest independent pharmacy college of India, established in 1947. And some interesting things have been happening, uh, which I'll try to share. Uh, this college has a vast legacy of entrepreneurs, which it has provided to India and abroad also. And we have, you know, many new innovations happening because as we are listening to the challenges which are being faced because of COVID-19, where the supply chain management and quality issues, uh, sourcing of supplies, hospitals. We are also working on talking of uh, contactless patient checking by doctors. These are so many things which have taken place in the last 2 years, where COVID has taught us so many new things. So we are also having an Atal Incubation Center by Niti Aayog, Government of India, in our college, and we are promoting many startups working in the area of healthcare and pharma. So there's one important thing which Nitish Kumar has also cited out that during the transit, during production vaccines which are being done, there was a lot of challenges. So there is one problem statement which was identified, that whenever such sensitive products like vaccines and biologics, which are also now coming in a big way, these are being shipped from the manufacturing site to the end user till it is being delivered. We are not sure whether the cold chain has been maintained or whether the product has been maintained in the right conditions in which it should be. So this is a real-time challenge, and because of that, when the product is being administered to the patient, we do not know whether it is really having its efficacy or it is deteriorated. So taking this as
Hello?
a problem statement, we have one nice AI-based solution which has come up over here. It's by the name of MTag. It's a startup which is working here. They have developed a smart tag which has 5 sensors, which is temperature, humidity, shear, stress, jerk, impact, and backed by AI. It is able to share real-time data of the product in terms of its stability till it is delivered to the end user, and it can be monitored live. The product also has, that sensor has geotagging also. So during the transit, during the shipment, when the product is moving from one place to another place to the end user, and if say a particular place a distributor has not been able to maintain that cold chain or such conditions of storage, that also you can tag. The company can also identify that at this point the problem is there, and they can make corrective actions over there. So this wonderful startup is working over here. It has scaled up. It has got so many awards. Government of India is also funding it, and they have also gone through the minimum viable product. MVP is also done. So
Hmm.
they are working on miniaturizing this sense nice tag, and it will be built into the label of a product. That's the ultimate goal. So it's a wonderful technology which is being developed over here. I think the pharma industry would be able to get a lot of benefit when some such technology would be available. So that is,
Very nice.
yeah, that's wonderful thing which is being developed over here. And then another thing is, as we are talking about the mismatch of the supply of the product to the needs of the hospitals, which was very evident during the pandemic, that there was short supply of vaccines, short supply of essential drugs, which was taking place. So there's one more startup which is working over here with us by the name of Vizerma, and they have developed a platform where they are integrating the hospitals, they are integrating the manufacturers, and on the same platform, whenever any hospital has a requirement, they immediately know that which manufacturer has what stock of that available medicine. So the delay in procurement is not there, because all the
Hmm.
data is available on the same platform, and the decisions can be taken wisely. So it is very interesting that people are working on developing solutions to these real-time problems which are there. So it's very interesting to see these products develop and come into the market in the near future. That is how we look, and so because at this Atal Incubation Center, we try to support such innovative ideas on in pharma and healthcare. But since these two were related to our topic of today, I said let me share some information on these two startups, which will be of use to the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
if I can also add something into what Dr. Praful and Nitish said. Even though we were not in vaccine, but we closely worked with the industry during the vaccine distribution. But we were mainly into the remdesivir distribution, and one variant of that is also having the temperature controlled requirement. And the other one was amphotericin B, which was used for mucormycosis
Correct. Correct.
widely.
Yes.
I can say two or three major benefits that we got with the help of automation and AI. are one is the demand prediction, because we used to see, or we used to read also in newspaper, that Karnataka has got say 30 lakh stock, but if they are giving only 1 lakh every day, then we know that where the next lot has to be sent for any of the medicine, not necessarily vaccine, might be remdesivir, might be amphotericin B, any other COVID medicine. So demand prediction and end-to-end visibility rather helped us for demand prediction, and that in turn has helped us for the optimal distribution, because one state should not have too much medicine or vaccine where they cannot use that in next say 1 week or 2 weeks. Then we actually diverted that. We used to take a call to, in fact, with the help of government authorities, we used to take the call to divert that into other states where the demand is very high and people are really needing that particular product. Second one, as Dr. Praful said, like the control room of the temperature. So at least in all our nodes, from where the shipment is moving from one node to other node, all the temperature tracking, and in all our warehouses also. Also, during our tie-up with hospitals, we used to actually from some hospital used to get the data of their temperature monitoring. So that was actually helping us to track, or rather end-to-end tracking all the temperatures. And third one was mainly for route optimization, where like uh, in some cases, if we are using road transport, but still there is a very much high demand and urgency is there because a lot of people are admitted into hospital, then we used to airlift some of the stock which has come up or which is produced later, and that was helping us for route optimization, or rather taking the decision on road versus air. So all these things actually has helped us, and it was like no one can do it alone. So it was mainly the distributors, hospitals, government, everybody helped us to ride over this
Yeah.
wave.
Yeah. So Sanjay, I think very important point you raised. I was listening your points very carefully. This end-to-end tracking. So we have implemented a state-of-the-art facility where the system itself is going to send the real-time alerts to all stakeholders from order to the cash, which I am talking order to cash cycle. And we have utilized analytics, we have utilized AI and all these technologies together to create this system, which is now live in our company. And it is going to basically, the moment we get the sales order from our customer from sitting in the US and UK and all these countries, we have a presence of 100 plus countries. So taking the data from this sales order, this basically forecast or demand, converting them into the sales order, then the whole set of manufacturing uh, in the pharma, I'm sure you know compressions, granulations, blending, coating, packaging, and then eventually the raw material orderings, APIs arrival, all these things, then logistics, whole outbound logistics. Everything is tracked through the AI-based systems right now. I mean, the scope of AI is not as far as we expected, but yes, there is a huge analytics engine which is running behind, and giving the real time. Today, if I want to know there is a product which is getting manufactured in one of my plant, I exactly know where is that product, which state has been completed, which state is pending, what is the expected delivery date, where it is in the world, and how much time it will take for the customer to get this product, and how much time I am going to get the cash from the customer. The whole thing is live. So this is a very important from the pharma parlance.
Yes, nice to hear that, and I think that is the future for all of us, all the pharma industry participants. I think going ahead.
Uh, Interesting that the MTAG technology, which they are trying to work on and it's being studied, they are also computing the analysis. It gives you whether the product is containing how much amount of drug. That also is being given live. So that is something monitored. It's not just giving you the temperature and humidity. Through AI, it is also computing the percentage of drug remaining in the product, and that's something wonderful.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they have used AI to build up all this from the stability studies which are being done, and from the data, they have built the AI models, and then from that they are computing the actual remaining product shelf life, or how much drug is present, whether it is really degraded or it is still Okay, so that is interesting, which is something new in this technology which they are doing. So they are going to build it into each label, you know. So normally what happens, you may have controls in the stores, you may have controls in your office, but live tracking of the container is not possible, which is being done over here, you know. So that's something which is interesting. Earlier, the tag which they have initially, the prototype which was built was of a credit card size. Now they are making it into a small label size. It's a foldable sensor now. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it comes out. So a lot of new things are coming in. You know, Niti Aayog has established these subtle incubation centers across the country, and therefore a lot of work is being done by people as startups. You know, they team up together and they come up with some wonderful solutions to existing problems in pharma and healthcare. We have so many such case studies happening over here. It's really very inspiring to see that. Yes, Alavji, I hope you can connect
Sorry,
now.
there was a problem with my internet. I hope this is better. All right. So going to the next question, basically. So what are the key drivers, that are making pharma sector witness a drastic change in the way, the products and services are being delivered? Because, the things are becoming more complex now, and, things are becoming more personalized, basically. If we talk about the service industry, basically, after coming everything's online, the people are hardly visiting any hospital or somewhere, and things are coming everything online. And if I'm talking about the delivery of the goods and all, now people are talking the drone based delivery, and some of the other things are coming up in the market. So how these things are going to impact the pharma sector in terms of supply chain?
If you allow, Alokji, can I take this?
Yeah, please.
This is Sanjay.
Yeah,
Okay.
please go
So,
on.
yeah, this is really a good question. And as you just hinted, also the customer expectations of personalization, those are growing day by day. Customer expectations about the service, about the delivery timelines, those are like ever increasing. And Amazons and Flipkarts of the world actually putting a lot of pressure on all the other companies, even though not from the same industry, from other industries as well, about the personalization, about the service requirement. Other than that, there is a lot of positive pressure from government to help the common man to tackle this need, which is now a day-to-day need of different type of medicines for most of the people. And then there are global healthcare funding agencies, insurance agencies. Those are also putting a lot of pressure on healthcare sector to deliver better, faster, better quality medicines, to address different unmet needs. And as we know, right medicine delivery at the right time. So all these factors, those are pushing the industry to use AI and a lot of other new innovations to deliver on these expectations.
Right. Can I add something more over here?
All right. So this
Uh,
drone based services, I'm not sure whether that is linked to AI or not. Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah,
Please
of
proceed.
course. So
yes, Sanjay, you can continue with your
yeah, no,
answer.
I was just saying, yes, drone based services definitely, like those are like, we are actually anything where we are reducing the dependence on human performance. Probably it is related to the AI as we understand, and that is the future as we know, like drone based medicine. Now we are starting, I think some company like Swiggy and all are starting with the food delivery, but definitely that is the future for medicines also, like in remote areas where we can reach faster. not only for medicines, medical devices. Tomorrow might be organs. If you have seen during organs transplantation, there is like green corridors made, and traffic is stopped for a few hours or say a day or so. But like drone can actually deliver that much faster in inaccessible areas, and that would help actually everybody in future. So that is one of the important I think applications of the this emerging technology.
All right. Professor, would you like to add
Right.
something here?
Yeah, I was talking about how the services of AI can be increased and we can have more healthcare benefits out of it. So we have a lot of work which is being done through AI on interpretation of reports of the patients. When the patient is visiting the hospital and is being exposed to taking an X-ray, is being told to take an MRI, so immediately that data is being analyzed by AI, and it gives you very fast predictions of what is the possible cause and what can happen. So a lot of work is being done on the clinic side, where AI-based solutions for such analysis of the reports is being done, and that's going to be very useful to the patients also and the doctors also, because within a short time you can analyze what is happening actually to the patient, and using AI tools. So it's going to be very useful to critically ill patients, and they can get the right therapy at the right time. So that's one major benefit which we are going to see in the coming days, where almost all the patients' data would be being processed through an AI algorithm, and we'll be getting the right treatment for the right patient. It becomes more personalized, because once you are mapping the patient with his data, and then you're feeding certain medicines into it, as we all know, each patient has a specific genetic composition, and he may react to a drug in a different way than any other patient. So we are moving towards personalized therapy, and whenever we move over towards such a personalized therapy, we always have to take the benefit of AI so that we can analyze the patient's parameters and then give the best solution which can be provided to that patient. So that is one area in which we look forward to a lot of AI implementation coming in. Second one
So,
is
are
in the
you
pharma
just
formulation development, where we have development of new dosage forms which is being done. And for the development of new dosage forms, we all know that we are taking so many trial batches, and from those trial batches, we would analyze which batch is best. We use computer softwares for designing and optimization. But at the same time, now with the availability of AI, we are able to develop these dosage forms very fast. Before going to the lab, we can design those formulations using an AI tool, and then from that, the best formula which is being generated, that we go and prepare in the lab, and we get a very good fit. We are almost to the best batch which you can produce. So the number of trial runs which are being required to make a batch can be reduced with the availability of the AI tool. That is something which is also being done now, so whether it's a floating tablet, it's a conventional tablet, whether it's a sustained tablet, make name any dosage form, then we can prepare an AI algorithm, and you can see that how best and how fast we can provide using the required excipients in place, which one would be best and what concentration would be best. Putting in the desired parameters from the product, we can design it very fast using an AI. So that is another area in which AI is being implemented. A lot of work is being done on that front also in research. And as Sanjay ji has told, that organ transplant is something which is coming in and being implemented in a big way. As he has said, yes, true, we are having green corridors which are being done now, but we expect a lot more expansion in organ transplant in the coming years, and therefore AI can always help in managing the whole transplantation process, right from procurement to the patient implantation, right? And this success in the acceptance of the organ by the patient, because sometimes it has been seen that after transplantation, because of immunological reasons, it is rejected by the patient and the transplant does not work. In such cases also, AI enabled tools will be very beneficial in ensuring the accuracy and the predictability of how well that organ transplant will work. So that's also where organ transplants, that area can also be been augmented by the use of AI, And yes, another important thing which Sanjay ji has also pointed out, delivery of medicines to remote areas. It was a big challenge now, and with the advent of the drone technology, a lot of work is being done to deliver medicines to such unaccessible regions also. These are all things which are coming up, and we hope that the challenges which we see today will be resolved in the near future to come. Thank
Okay,
you.
so this smart watches on which is coming up now, which is collecting hell amount of data from all the individuals in terms of their sleeping patterns, their health, their breathing, and all. So, is this going to, the industry is going to leverage that data through AI to, give some sort of customized solutions to each and every patient?
May I take this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So, see, as it is very well known, any technology developed through AI needs data. Unless you are able to provide data, the AI cannot run. The algorithm needs to work on data. So, on one side, we are looking at collection of data, and on the second side, we are looking at protecting the privacy of the person when data is being shared. So, these two issues go hand in hand. On one side, we need data because it has been very well known that whenever we have a history, you can see the history of medicines which has been developed and which have been banned in other countries, and we are continuing with those medicines somehow in our countries. It has been seen that the reasons are that we do not have data from Indian population. Whenever a new drug is being approved, the data is from foreign population. That population from Indian subjects was not available. Even today, demographic data of diseases from Indian population is not available to that extent so that we can develop the right medicines for that population. We rely on data which is available from other countries. So that is one major challenge which we face, and that is where we need to have Indian data, Indian population, Indian data, so that we can develop the right solutions for our people, right? Because it has been very easily seen that the uh, drugs which are effective in other countries are maybe less effective over here or more effective over here in other, say, African countries, European countries, and Indian context, Asian countries. It's very different depending on the demographics. So we need to Indianize this, and for that purpose, AI is one of the best tools where we can make out the corrective changes. But then the data, as you have very rightly said, we collect data, smartwatches, devices, our phones, everything is collecting data. How do we protect that data and how do we share that data is a major challenge. Thank you.
And just to add, I think a couple of interesting points in what Dr. Proful said is like smartwatches actually as simple as like they give all the readings on the blood pressure or heartbeat rate, and some are actually having the some parameters related to sugar, and of course oxygen was being used during the pandemic. Many of the smartwatches, they were actually reading recording
Yeah.
oxygen also. Still there is a lot of scope for improvement, like in terms of accuracy, etc. But still, that if this data is available widely, as Dr. Prabhu said, there is privacy concern, of course. But at some point in time, if this data is available widely, we can easily monitor like the BMI of the population, which is currently done everything on sample basis. The hypertension profile of population, sugar profile of the population, oxygen saturation of the population during next pandemic if it comes, that type of thing. So that definitely would help to format strategy on the new products or new inventions to address those needs.
So, in terms of reaching up to a matured stage, where this information get processed by the AI, in terms of some meaningful information to the patient, what is the time span, we are thinking by when this will get matured enough, and
If I can just start with the answer, in this case, I'll just take one simple example of Google. When it was in 2002, when it was just started, it was very very basic. And now if you see Google, the level of the searches or the quality of the searches and results that is giving is really phenomenal in 2022, right? So this is again, I can say, AI is a children technology, or rather it is like behaving like a children, where it is behaving like a kids, where like it is learning very fast, it is growing, getting every day, it is improving. Alexa also, if you see initially when it was launched, and now there's a lot of improvement on that. So this is also as the question rightly has been put in, how much time it will take to mature. So it is anybody's guess, but we are very hopeful that it is happening very fast. Some people feel 10 years, some people feel little more than that. Some people are much more aggressive on like next 5 years also. A lot of improvements are possible. It is anybody's guess, but good thing is that it is improving, it is maturing. And if you are asking specifically about the time from getting the data to delivery of the customer, delivery of the medicine to the customer or solution to the customer, actually that time is also is getting reduced now. What we have seen in vaccines and remdesivir and other medicines, where like everybody is helping, including government agencies, to cut all the delays. And in this case also, if people need it, then why not? Then this will be also implemented very fast, and probably we'll see the light of the day fast.
All right, thank you. So, as we are seeing now, everything is becoming very digital. If you see, earlier we used to have a kind of a cash transactions, which has everything migrated to phone-based transactions now. So, in this increasingly digital world, where I think the entire supply chain, sometimes someday it will become fully digital. How do we see the automation is going to play, role over here? Whether everything will become automated from demand to delivery, or still there would be some manual interventions in that?
So can I start with that, the answer on that?
Yeah, yeah, please, Sanjay.
Yeah. So I think it is again. I'll take some little cue from the last question. As we discussed about Google, Alexa, it is developing very fast, and then there are so many predictions from so many your consultants like Gartner, McKinsey, etc. And the figure that is put around 6 to 15 trillion savings by AI technology by 2030. That is what different companies have given different number, but it is very huge number. And if that happens, really, we would be lucky to have that kind of saving over the years on all our operations, on our logistics, all this cost. So coming back to the essence of the question, whether it will happen 100%, nobody knows at this stage. But of course, top end jobs should remain with the humankind, with us, with our next generations. But if you have any access to the videos of Tesla, Tesla founder, we can see that like at some point in time, entire
Yeah.
automobile industry will be on autopilot, or self-driving cars will be there. It is something like lifts, where about 20 years back, there was always used to be a person who used to manage the lifts, drive the lifts, used to call liftman probably. And now there are pilots or drivers on the vehicles. Those will vanish, and this will actually result in around 10 to 15% job loss. But anyway, it will not happen in one day. It will happen slowly. So this is just one example. What Elon Musk says is that there's no any job, at least he knows that machines cannot do better than the human beings. So he's confident that almost everything will be moved to the, and he's the thought leader in the field. So I think we all should hear his views, and try to adjust accordingly, or put our views based on that. We can also resist those, but still there's a lot of work needs to do to do that. But this is like interesting, where like one day probably many of the jobs will move into the yeah, that is what is the prediction of many of the leaders in this field. Again, what will happen to the human beings then? So that's what he is talking about, like the universal income system or something like that to start with, and it will not happen in one day. It will happen on 15 years, 30 years period. So people will learn to do some other value added jobs. So nothing to panic.
All right. Thank you. So let me go to Nitish. I think he just joined back now. So Nitish, in terms of where everything is becoming digitally connected, everything is becoming fully automated, and going everything online. Do you see the supply chain functions and the the related activity will be ever fully get automated, or it will still
Yeah,
require manual intervention?
we can say that going forward, we can see a trend year on year. The supply chain are getting heavily digitized, heavily automated, and a lot of processes which people think that this can't be digitized is now already digitized. But at the same time, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah. So at the same time, uh, I don't think a day will come where we can say that yes, the supply chain has been 100% digitized, or it is like nothing is left for the digitizations. That time is very very far in the future, because supply chain is full with uncertainty. Today we see that there is a war happening between Russia and Ukraine, and Russia invasion of Ukraine, and because of that war, Indian supply chain are getting impacted very severely, especially the raw material cost, because all the raw materials used ultimately the petroleum things and all. Tomorrow we don't know which country is going to fight with each other. US to US is going to invasion which country. So all these things will keep coming. There are a lot of uncertainties which nobody can predict. Even the best of the AI system in the world can't predict that what will happen after exactly in the geopolitical things after 3 years or 4 years down the line. The best AI system in the world, right? So we can't say that yes, maybe after 5 years a day will come where we can say that our supply chain and manufacturing is 100% digitized. Nobody can claim that, none of the companies, even the companies who are investing billions and billions of dollars. But yes, I am very optimistic about the future, and I can say from my own experience that yes, 5 year below, the processes which we thought that is impossible to digitize is now digitized. 2 years back, if we say something that yes, on a single mouse click I would be able to see where the containers are from my company, the dispatched from the plants, which basically which continent they are, and how much time it is going to take to the customers, where are my products in the warehouses on real time in one single mouse. People would say that this is impossible to achieve, but now we have implemented, a lot of companies have been implemented. If we say that yes, I can exactly predict what is the sales of my product is going to happen in a particular geographies with 99% of accuracy. Few years back these things looks very difficult to achieve, but now these are very well in our range. So the digitization is happening with a very very fast pace. The digitization is happening with an unprecedented rate, and it is accelerated by COVID-19, because now the companies understand the power of virtual way of working and power of distribution way of working, and people not coming to the offices yet delivering to the 100% of their efficiency. So all these things are happening, but yes, coming to your original questions, uncertainties in the supply chain, that will be there forever. It will never go off completely.
Yeah, just an
Right.
interesting
Thank you.
point
Thank
what
you. I think
Nitish.
that's for sure that yeah,
So
that
what are you
was
saying?
really
Interesting
interesting.
points,
I
like
think
just
there
one.
won't be
Yeah,
ever any time where everything would be fully automated. Yeah, yeah. Please go on, Sanjay.
No, I was just wondering if this pandemic would have been predicted. Again, there are a lot of theories. Whether somebody will say that in 2020 there will be a big pandemic and you should actually stock up all your food, all your medicines for next, say, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It is really a big question, $1 million question, rather $1 billion question. And somebody says that in 1920 also there was like some big pandemic, and if there is big data available at somewhere, probably after say few centuries, that every 20th year of new century there is some sort of pandemic, or plus minus 10 year or whatever, some tolerance will be there, then it is possible that pandemic also can be predicted. This was a counter argument to that, but anyway, it is like it is very difficult to predict these type of things like wars, pandemic, etc. uh, yeah, and that is the reason the value of the human brain is there. It will remain. Yeah.
All right, all right. Thank you. So, see, now things are becoming so complicated. We call it as a VUCA world, where things are very vague, complex and uncertain. In this kind of world, how do we define what could be the intelligent supply chain system? And if somebody has to implement that through automation, what could be the roadmap for that? So, Sanjay, would
If
you
you
like to
allow, I
take
can
up this
start with
question?
yeah. So as we know, like, what is the intelligent supply chain and what it should actually consist of is mainly that the supply chain reacts proactively, or rather supply chain rapidly reacts, not proactively, rapidly reacts to the changing customer priorities. That is one of the main characters of the supply chain future going ahead. It anticipates disruptions and it suggests the course corrections. So that is another character of an intelligent supply chain. It capitalizes on opportunities on time, and what it should have is like 360-degree visibility, and it should actually go deep dive into the visibility, end-to-end visibility, and allow organizations to make rapidly into contingency plans in case of any unforeseen circumstances. Predictive analysis would definitely prevent in losses in preventing the sorry predictive analytics would help to prevent the losses over here, where if you see some machinery has been provided to some customers, and we know the shelf life of the machinery, or those are behaving over the years, and then the order can be proposed well ahead in time, before the machinery goes into breakdown. This is one of the examples of predictive analytics.
All right. So I think one thing
Real
is
time
very clear.
collaboration. Yeah, yeah, please. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I think it is true that for the coming decade, the implementation of AI is going to be very crucial in developing healthcare sector on all fronts, basically, right from the clinic to the supply chain management, and the formulation in the industry.
All
Everywhere
right.
AI
I think one
implementation
thing
is
is
going
that
to
if you
be.
implement like the agility would be the thing, because
Hello.
Carry on, Dr. Baradia, please. I think we are facing some
Yeah.
issues with Mr. Kumar's connectivity.
Right. So that is how we look at the augmentation of AI in the whole pharma sector after the disruption has taken place. Because when we had the COVID, the first challenge which was faced was stopping of supplies from China. Or as Nitish Kumar had rightly said, that one of the major challenges was raw material supply and its cost. So that led the government to launch the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme and the PLI scheme, in which Indian startups and Indian companies were trying to be supported by government for developing those APIs in-house in India, so that they could be replacing the imports. So import substitution became a very important functionality, so that we could become self-reliant. In that sector also, we have many startups now working on developing those APIs in India in a safer, greener, and cost-effective manner. The drug discovery with AI has also been augmented to a great way. And that is going to really help us. And we
Right.
also have prescription robots now taking over, where even in the clinic you have all the prescriptions, it is coded, it is put into the robot in the evening. At night the robot will pick up all the medicines from the proper racks, it will dispense it into the proper patient's cartons. By morning all the packages are ready for distribution to the patients in the wards. So a lot of robotics is coming in, and it is going to replace human manpower even in the
Right.
clinic.
Right. Right.
This is what
Thank you.
we see coming in.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Nitish Kumar. Any closing comments from you, please? As we are, I think we are pretty late for our next session as well.
Yeah, Garima. So I am agree with what Dr. Praful has just said. AI has a huge unlocked power, especially for the developing countries when it comes to.
Okay, I think we seem to have lost him. Mr. Kumar, closing remarks from you.
You're on mute, Mr. Kumar.
Mr. Kumar. I think the connectivity has really, hampered the talks that with the flow that would have loved to have in this discussion. So all I can say is thank you to the esteemed speakers who could probably join us amidst their busy schedules and share their vision and thoughts and insights about this particular segment that
All right.
that is.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think this discussion was very helpful, and I think the crux of
Yeah, please carry on, sir. Please carry on.
I think he's
all right.
again
Thank you.
voice. Uh,
Okay, I'm really sorry, but I'll have to close this session now, and I would we would like to apprise our August gathering and to our delegates about two of our upcoming in-person events scheduled for the month of June. We will be organizing the 10th Healthcare Innovation Summit on 22nd and 23rd of June at Eros Hotel, New Delhi. We will also be having a parallel event, which is Third Radiology and Imaging Summit, also on the 22nd and 23rd June at Eros Hotel, New Delhi. And as a token of appreciation from our end, please accept these virtual certificates. And we're really grateful for your presence, Mr. Alok Kumar. Thank you so much for moderating this discussion with our panelists. Thank you so much for your presence. Dr. Praful Bharadya, thank you so much, sir, and congratulations on the 75th year of existence of LM College. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Sanjay Kulkarni, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your thoughts with our delegates, our audience, and our panel. And Mr. Nitish Kumar, thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure listening to you once again. Thank you so much to all my esteemed gathering for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a
Nice
wonderful
to
discussion.
interact
Thank
with
you.
everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.